What is living with your GF or wife like? Is it as good/bad as you thought it would be? Whatever side of the bed you pick the first night is a more permanent than a tattoo. Me and my boyfriend switched sides for one night because he had to get up early. That was last month and he won't give me my side back. We switch every 6 months BC. I never sleep facing another person, but I fear that laying on one side would affect my hearing XD. But why a hearing? Is your pillow screaming in your ear? For the first 2 years it was hard. After living alone for so long it was difficult to allow someone else in my space. Now when she leaves for a few days to visit family I don't know what to do with myself. When my wife leaves for a work trip or to visit family etc. I simply don't sleep. Same goes for when I travel for work alone. I simply can't fall asleep without her there. I sleep on the couch when my wife is gone. 1. Cause a bigger bed is weird alone. 2. I can't have a TV in the bedroom and sometimes I just need to fall asleep to the soothing voice of David Attenborough describing a lion fighting a hyena over a kill. You're so wholesome. Requires the purchase of a king bed. Don't be afraid to get separate blankets either. This was the ultimate game changer for us. Having separate comforters and blankets so we can each regulate our own comfort makes it so much easier to sleep together. We are just two totally different temperatures. She's like a lizard and conforms to the temperature of the room, where I'm a furnace that blazes hot every day of the year. Hair everywhere. Everywhere. If you've got a vacuum with a spinning brush, keep a pocket knife or scissors on you while cleaning. And for anyone who hasn't lived with a woman before and you think this is not true, this is an exaggeration. No, this is true. If anything it is underestimating how much hair there will. It will literally be everywhere. Every corner. Every surface. Everywhere. Even ends up in your butt crack somehow. Like all women I have lived with she cleans less than she claims. And the quality is suspect at best. She sheds and seems to pretend that drains can't clog. She falls asleep with glasses of water in her hand and has killed her last 2 laptops. And when she is away for more than one night I count the hours until she returns. This is beautiful. The shedding exceeded my expectations. She and our 2 dogs should all be bald but somehow aren't. I have to vacuum constantly. That's about it as far as bad points go. Get yourself a Roomba. 2 big dog, 2 daughters and myself, and my Roomba vacuum is full every day. Roombas FTW. They've been life changing at my house. Same. I got the separate Roomba mop too and run them both back to back daily. Game changer. Wife 4 kids 2 dogs 2 cats. It's not F quiet. What about wife 1, 2 and 3? We don't talk about them. We don't talk about wife 1, 2 or 3. We don't talk about exes. Like living with my best friend. Except I get to have sex with her. This is exactly perfectly right. Marriage is fantastic and you can keep it that way by always thinking to yourself this is my very best friend before saying anything that may be received as critical or hurtful. Delightfully married 30+ years. Probably the best advice I've casually read. Thank you. I'm going to start doing this. My wife is beautiful and still looks amazing after 3 kids. But she snores like a ref lumberjack. Night and day difference after my wife did a sleep study and got a PAP machine. Thought it will be good and turned out even better. Same here. Buddy, I'm happy for you. Basically I get to live with the homie and also bang one out too. It's great lol. What about the wife? To shreds you say? If you picked right and communicate well, it's like living with a kick-ass roommate, your best friend, and the person you regularly F all in one person. If you picked wrong and communicate poorly, it's like living with an angry parent, toddler, your boss, and a bartering prostitute, because you only F when certain conditions are met, and good luck guessing what they are, all in one person. Can confirm on the toddler bit. It was stressful in the beginning. It really requires you to learn how to communicate. That goes both ways, speaking and listening. It's way better than I expected. We've been living together for 2 years now. Toilet paper. Guys tend to forget that we need to use toilet paper every time we go to pee in addition to pooping. Not to mention, when we are on our period, or having to wrap feminine products in toilet paper before throwing them away. Living with my wife has been like evolving. We're in our early mid-60s and have been married for 39 years, running our own business for 25 years, and have had 2 daughters, and also 3 dogs and 3 cats. Early on, we had to do a long distance relationship for 3 years, and learned how to run our own households. No one stays the same for that long. She has become more perfectionistic. I have become more pragmatic. She learns more from talking and seeing. I learn more by hearing and reading. I do nearly all the cooking and baking and it. She is good with building, maintenance and repairs, and never met a chore she didn't like. We can still work on projects together. But it's now better if one of us is designated as the leader and the other as the follower/subordinate. Our important common features from the earliest days are an ability to communicate and discuss difficult issues, and also shared interests, politics and tastes in music. It depends entirely on how your partner and yourself function together, as individuals, and as people cooperating in a household together, pretty much like a roommate. But you get to fuck. If one person sucks at handling this stuff, it'll be difficult. If both suck, it'll be super difficult. Unless you're both okay living in a resshole, things are made harder if one or both clearly have issues they're dealing with, because you're now surrounded by that even more, sharing the same space and time than before, i.e., your girlfriend is bipolar. Well, now that you live with her, you'll see it even more. Better than I could have dreamed. I was doing not so good at the time, and I really did kind of underestimate how much not returning to an empty home and her enthusiastic greeting actually helped. It's been great. Most of the conflicts I thought would happen just didn't or were mitigated. Both of us are pretty damn good cooks and it's fun having somebody to cook for. I was kind of hesitant at first because I need decompression time and thought her being on top of me 24/7 might get old. It didn't. If anything, times I used to crave being alone, I just crave quiet cuddles instead. Only sticking point so far is I'm borderline territorial, but she likes to entertain. It's been okay, and she hasn't overdone it yet. Most of her friends are in the dorms and our place is pretty decent size, so I get it. But good lord, the hair, it gets everywhere in all things washer, dryer, shower, a crack, you name it, and I've found a hair. There was an adjustment period, but I love it. Living alone was nice for establishing my own identity and introspection. But after 9 years of it, I was lonely and going a bit crazy from lack of human interaction. A wife and 2 kids is perfect. They are my clan. We are like a wacky sitcom family. Dude, this is super sweet. It's better. At 30, it is amazing. I live in a shitty apartment in Florida. Cheapest we can find. Still $1,300 for one British rail, but I digress. Even if it's obvious, the key thing is to find a partner that is compatible with you. If you have to live with someone and hate that they can't change the toilet paper, you'll grow to resent that person. I learned a lot about myself, my tolerances, weak spots, even strengths, by living with my current partner, and I love it. When I was 20, I also lived with my partner, and it was a living hell as we were too young and emotional. No communication. I recommend it either way, as long as you have a way out. I thought it would be nice, but it became apparent very early on that she wasn't prepared to live on her own, because her parents babied her too much. She never did any chores, never cleaned, left a mess behind her, and basically had me do it all, even though it was the one out working every day and she stayed at home. The moral of the story: if you're dating a chick who never had her own place before, make sure she knows how to do basic upkeep. My wife is like this. It's been a big strain on the relationship. Honestly, get out now for your own sake. My wife was that way and then took her own life because everyone around her was pushing her to get a job, work on herself, actually help out with chores, etc. I wish I had just left prior to her killing herself so that she could still be alive at the very least. It was also such a strain on me being the only one doing literally everything, while also the only one working, and also dealing with a fuck ton of hospitalizations, surgeries, and severe medical issues. I literally wasted over a decade of my life in ways because I was spending all of my time taking care of her that I was never able to take care of myself. There were definition good moments in there, a lot. But that one area really does spread out to all of the rest and makes things so much worse if it's not good. My advice: buy a king-sized bed. Being able to get quality sleep is a must for relationships. It's hot or cold depending on their whim. Thermostat wars are real. It's awesome. She's pushed me to be a tidier person. Having her around means I've gotten to lean more into cooking, since I have someone to cook for, so I've gotten much better at it. I've gotten into video games she likes, and she got me back into gardening. I go out of my way to encourage her to sing, since so many people have put down her singing voice, and now she sings every day while she's working or doing housework. My house always has singing, food cooking, and some herbs growing in it. I've never felt more at peace in my home. Best decision I made in my life. This woman sat there and held me when my father died. She cried with me. I have been so vulnerable in front of this woman, and she has loved me and supported me. She has seen almost of all of me, and she has stayed with me. She earnestly wants our marriage to work, and it shows. We laugh together daily, and she is just appreciative of my existence. I have been in my room playing God of War Ragnarok, and she just brings me food to eat and play. Issues? Heck yeah, but we are a team, and we'll get through them. If I ever hit the lottery, it will be the second time I won the jackpot. First is with this woman. It was terrible. Scrutinized for everything that she didn't identify with. Had to change the scents of all my soaps, including foaming spray for the toilet. Had to take out my neon lights because it was too distracting. I don't like TVs in my room because I only want to utilize my bedroom for sleeping and changing only. She couldn't sleep without the TV on. I never had a silent night until we broke up. I was so relieved when the breakup happened. I got to personalize my S again. It's amazing. I get to see a lot more boobs than I used to. Regular boob views are definitely at the top of my list. I've thought of pressing assault charges for the way she farts when she sleeps. I had an ex that was like that. She had no idea. The look on her face when I told her was priceless. A mix of good and bad. The good: get to see your soul all the time. Spend time with them and do things together. Granted, she moved in with me and my parents. Reasons, and it actually went well until the pandemic. The bad: thanks to the pandemic, issues started to arise often. No space made it especially hard. I was still in college at the time, but had to switch to online learning. We were home all the time, of course, so in the first few months into the pandemic it going alright, but we got to see how comfortable we both got to each other, and it was rough. I was also in charge of her happiness as well, since she had no hobbies or anything to really keep her occupied, often for a while, until she found and I still wasn't happy. Now I'm single. The ending. Oof. What made you break it off?